Hey, it's Glenys here. Today I'm talking about jumping distances for beginner riders. Now, when I talk about jumping distances for beginner riders, completely different to training a young green horse, especially like a competition horse. So a beginner rider horse should be one that does the minimal. You know, they might be an old competition horse that used to be quite extravagant in their movement, that would calm and bascule over a fence and, you know, put in lots and lots of energy. But a jumping lesson or jumping horse for a beginner rider should be a very honest horse, very even paces, and should pretty much do the minimal. Yes, I need to get over that, you know, small fence, but I'll just calm and I'll just go over it just with the minimum of effort, okay? When we do that, the rider's going to be able to sit on the horse, learn a little bit about jumping without, you know, being upset and just too much energy. If the horse puts in too much energy or jumps from too far back and puts in a big jump and the rider gets left behind the movement, or comes into a jump and pops in a bit of a short stride and then the rider's a bit in front of the movement. Both those things we're trying to avoid. So if we set up the correct jumping distances, then it should be a lot easier for the horse to go over, for the rider to just follow. Okay, so there is a difference between training competition horses and training beginner riders. We talked in our jumping, in our trot pole lesson, about a competition horse, you know, standard is between 1.2, 1.4. But we also talked about when you're teaching beginner riders on school horses, those distances become much shorter. And if you teach ponies, you might even find that they come in less than 1 metre, okay? So your standard, if you think of your standard for a competition horse, might be a bounce. That's a trot approach into a bounce, might be 3 metres. So if you take the 1.2 to 1.4 trot stride going into a 3 metre bounce, you can see that the canter stride or the bounce is just a little over twice the distance. Okay, so say in round figures, you've got a trot that's about a metre, let's say a metre. Okay, so you'd come in and say, right, trot poles are set up a metre apart, and if you don't know how to do that, just go back and listen to another chat that we did about trot poles and trot pole distances and how to set them up. Just as a very quick guide, if you set up your first pole and your fourth only, not 4 poles together, but just your first and your fourth, your horse should be able to put in three very even trot steps. Or if you set up your trot poles correctly, your horse should come along and trot in the middle, the back legs going where the front legs have left off, just in the middle between the poles. If that's not happening, just develop your eye, keep going, play around with it a little bit, and make sure you're developing your eye that you can see where the horse lands and where the horse takes off, you know, to go on for that, because that's pretty much what you need to be doing for your bounce. The horse should go over the first jump, trot in, a trot approach, go over the first jump, land in the middle, and take off in the middle. So the horse will come in, land, and take off in the same, you know, one after the other. And for an easy distance for your horse, that's what you're looking at. So the first thing you need to do is set up your trot poles, make sure your distance is right. It's going to be about that. Now your trot pole, when you approach your canter from the trot, it's going to be a lot different from approaching and being in canter. Your canter is going to develop into longer strides as you go on, okay? So, you know, canter, say for a competition horse, you know, might be 3.6 that you're working on, and it's come in from trot into a 3 metre stride. So then it would develop into a 3.6 metre stride. Okay, and it's the same with the canter. So you come in, you've got your trot pole set up your bounce about twice and a bit more what your trot pole distance is. Then as you go in, and say if you set up a grid, you might have a bounce and then a 1 non-jumping stride. So the horse will approach the grid in trot, the bounce, then will go jump, and the horse lands in the middle. That's where you've got your, you know, twice plus a little bit. Then as you go, say for a 1 non-jumping stride, your horse will go jump, canter, jump. That will be a little more than twice your distance of the bounce. If your horse went on to do two non-jumping strides, so it might be a little more, but you wouldn't want to go too much more per stride for your 3. Okay, so just play around with that. You're really looking at developing your eye, looking at the horses you've got, looking at the riders, because you might find that if you've got a more confident rider, the more confident rider will push that horse out a little bit. Come on, mate, let's do some more. And it might bring a few memories back of, being ridden by a more assertive, more confident competition rider, and the horse might exert a little bit more energy. So those distances will change. But I think with your shouldn't be non-confident, because they should be confident enough to jump. But with your rider who's just learning about jumping, just keep developing your eye. Look at your trot pole distances, and of course keep your jumps very small, just while you're developing your eye. And if you can learn with some more confident riders that don't mind if you make a little bit of an odd mistake and the horse comes in and jumps a bit big or puts in that little short stride, then your more confident riders are the best ones to learn with. Okay, Glenys Cox here, signing off from Horse Chats, where we do podcasts with international industry experts, equine industry experts, and also International Horse College, where we've got 6 instructor courses from $62 a week. Remember to like this post, share the post, and if you've got any more questions, that question was one that was emailed into me, but if you've got any more questions, put them at the bottom of the post and we'll do another chat on those. Okay, thanks, bye.